It's a case that caught the attention of viewers across the Mid-South. The feds are prosecuting 10 people accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars of COVID relief money. That's your tax dollars. 4 of the defendants, well, they're Mid-South pastors.
Fox 13 Your Money investigator Kate Beery learned one of those pastors has been accused of stealing before.
Pastor of opening up multiple credit cards in her name. Her family not surprised by the federal case, which will be tried in this courthouse.
Pastor Smith, Pastor Smith.
Back in 2018, Pastor Frederick G. Smith drove past our cameras, refusing to comment on allegations of fraud. Clevie Williams is his former parishioner. Her family accused Pastor Smith of opening up multiple credit cards in her name. Investigators say it was more than $50,000 of credit card debt.
Who was going to pay those charges?
I guess he thought Mom was.
Smith took a plea deal that put him on diversion until 2026.
You know, they ought to lock him up, throw away the keys.
Hi, looking for LaDonna Wiggins? My name's Myra with ABC 13.
Tuesday afternoon, we went to a home in Cyprus that court documents state 37-year-old LaDonna Wiggins purchased using money she received from the CARES Act.
Now, this is going to be an overall compilation of just PPP fraud, right? We know that with the, the grace of hindsight, we have enough information to go back and see that, yeah, all of these were cases of fraud. Let's get into it.
Document says Wiggins received about $3.7 million after submitting 2 PPP loan applications for businesses known as Wiggins and Grams Enterprises, LLC, and Pink Lady Line. The document states she used the funds to make lavish personal purchases, this home allegedly being one of them.
Hi,
It's wild that she, on one end could just request a federal loan, right? Because that's what these were, of near multi-millions of dollars, and think that you could just get away with it. It's wild.
looking for LaDonna Wiggins? She's not here. She's not here?
When someone finally came to the door, I asked this woman about the allegations that Wiggins supposedly purchased 2 homes using federal funds meant for business use.
This house and apparently a house for her mom. Is that you?
No,
You're not her mother?
no.
The court documents go on to mention just how much money she spent and on what. Here's just a few listed in detail in these court documents. Over $78,000 on a 2020 Land Rover, over $25,000 at Saks Fifth Avenue, over $12,000 at Hermes, over $64,000 at Chanel, and $204,000 for a business in Houston, nearly $700,000 for a home in Cyprus, and over $248,000 for a home in Katy.
Is there a
Now, like, what point do you think, they're clearly trying to launder the money, right? Because they know that they did something bad with it. They know they got it illegally, and they're just trying to throw it all into real estate, hoping, for the best. But it's wild to me that the audacity, right? The audacity.
a time that she will be coming home?
Actually, she hasn't called me today, so I'm not sure when she's coming back.
And how are you related to her?
That doesn't matter.
We never got a straight answer from the person who opened the door. We did see her moments later get in an SUV and leave. Wiggins has been charged with bank fraud, making a false statement to a bank, and money laundering. She faces up to 30 years in federal prison. Mayra Moreno, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
It is a program that was created and intended to help this country when it really needed it. And it's galling. I mean, it's galling to have people who take advantage of that.
U.S. Attorney Rhonda Handberg leads a COVID fraud task force, uncovering those who cashed in on a crisis from Tampa to Fort Myers, Orlando, and Jacksonville. His office was the first to take a COVID fraud case to trial and win. Since then, they've prosecuted 77 people in the Middle District of Florida.
Yeah, so just looking at those numbers, right? You have 77 defendants, defrauded the government $85 million. So we're talking about over $1 million per person, right, on average. Now, it's sad, again, because this money was meant to actually help, business owners, especially, those with employees, those that actual had expenses. But obviously, if it's a case of fraud, they didn't go towards that. It didn't go towards the intended purpose. But when you have so much money just freely given out, because again, they're just talking about 4 districts in Florida. They're not talking about the actual, the federal cases. All of this is only the big ones that were clear fraud cases. What about all of the ones that maybe weren't over $1 million? Maybe the ones that were just $100,000. They never had a business. They never had a company. They never had employees. And, they just are able to defraud that way. A lot of those cases just are simply able to not even get seen because the government doesn't have all of those endless resources. So it only goes towards the cases of right here with averaging over $1 million.
Who defrauded the government of $85 million. Money they spent on lavish lifestyles like boats, motorcycles, even a 4-carat engagement ring. A Seminole County man received $7.2 million in fraudulent funds and bought this multi-million-dollar house. And a Fort Myers couple raked...
All right, so hold on. You're telling me you clearly received a loan, defrauded the government, and you're just immediately throwing it back into their faces. Bro, if I get $7 million, I'm off the grid. You clearly know that money's not intended for the proper purpose. Look at this. You're talking about this is a resort style swimming pool, a tennis court, like an outdoor. This is wild to me.
And received $7.2 million in fraudulent funds and bought this multi-million-dollar house. And a Fort Myers couple raked in $3.4 million over false claims.
You know, if you're buying a house that's a multi-million-dollar house, if you're buying a car that's a really expensive car, you know, you're not doing that to feed your family or to do anything like that. You're just doing it out of greed.
While greed may be the motivation, Handberg says they found COVID fraud intimately intertwined in other criminal activity.
We've got people who are engaged in firearms trafficking. We have criminal organizations that are involved in shootings. We had a doctor who had a suspended license and was still distributing drugs.
As for recovering that $85 million, Handberg says they have seized jewelry, homes, and boats.
A lot of times the money is gone, but I can assure people.
So it's like one of those things, like, yes, the initial money that comes through, right? That's clearly the intended purpose to go towards a business, employees, the whole expenses. But if you're just wasting it, right? If you're wasting it buying jewelry, you're trying to throw it into a house, do you not realize that the government can come back like literally 20 years later and come rip that all off from you, plus interest? It just, why fight that battle?
We've got a very aggressive asset recovery division, and so we're going to do our part to try to hold those individuals accountable and get the funds back for the people of the United States.
The caseload for the task force continues to grow, so much so, Handberg recently added a prosecutor in Tampa solely to try these cases. This comes as 2 recent federal audits estimate the magnitude of COVID fraud around
because $300 billion in COVID fraud. But here's the thing: the reason why the government is deciding to, or local governments, states, counties are deciding to put towards resources towards this is because they can get the money back quite easily. You're telling me you buy a multi-million-dollar home and you think that the government is going to let you keep it, right? I'm sure prosecutors and local counties are like, yeah, go get this money back. It's very clear. Like, if you didn't even have a business to begin with and you claimed based on federal or state or local loans, yeah, go get the money back. So your days here. $1
billion.
That would suggest that we have a lot more work to do.
And his task force will have more time to do it. President Biden and Congress extended the statute of limitations on these cases by 5 years. So their work here in Florida is far from finished. Handberg's office has prosecuted cases from just a few $1,000s all the way up to those multi-million-dollar cases. He says the one thing they all have in common is that the fraud was deliberate. Reporting.
That's the thing. Like, if the fraud is clearly intentional and you didn't even try, right? Like, what if you said that you bought like some real estate? Like, okay, cool. You bought some real estate for the company. And they were like warehouses or, I don't know, tractor trailers and like enterprise level equipment. Makes sense. But if you're telling me you're buying a $7 million home out in the Hamptons, I mean.
Reporting in downtown Tampa, Genevieve Curtis, Fox 13 News.
And here's the thing. You could use this money to extend your business. You now have this access to capital to build on your company, but you choose to purposely forego the company because don't forget, you could take money out of the company. But the money still has to go towards the company, right? I don't know. I might be crazy. Y'all let me know.
In 2020, when the pandemic hit, Congress and the Trump administration moved quickly to get out trillions of dollars in economic aid to businesses in need of support as the country shut down. But with that lifeline of aid came widespread fraud, with federal watchdogs now estimating it could exceed $100 billion. So tonight, our senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott follows up on efforts to crack down on COVID funding fraud and help its many victims as part of her series Through the Cracks.
This guy, according to federal prosecutors, filed for millions of dollars in federal aid, got it, and then went Lamborghini shopping.
Oh my God. See, y'all just not trying to hide it at all.
Considered the biggest fraud in a generation.
Your tax money tonight, a pastor and his son facing charges for allegedly stealing more than $8 million in federal money, COVID relief funds.
Many of them simply wrote down names of fake businesses on their applications, and some even applied for the loans while sitting in jail.
See, that's the thing, right? Like, go back. What do they say?
Many of them simply wrote down names of fake businesses.
Names of fake businesses on their applications, meaning that they purposefully intended to defraud the government and take this money, right? Because that's essentially what was happening at the time. It was an in needs of crisis. But if you're writing down fake business applications, fake names, that's the level that we're going to. But it's crazy because what I'm seeing that is like, well, what if something happens where a small mom and pop shop need money? I would hope that being able to get the money is this easy. But going forward it's not. You're going to have to jump through all of the hoops. You're going to have to jump through all of the hurdles, and you're going to have back, case issues. But what happens to the people that ruin it for everybody? Well, that's why everyone now has to wear diapers, right? The reason mom and pop in 5 years want that, I don't know, payment protection are unable to get it because someone ruined it for everybody.
Businesses on their applications, and some even applied for the loans while sitting in jail.
Scammers stealing billions of dollars meant to help struggling Americans during the pandemic, ripping off the American taxpayer, buying mansions, flashy cars, and luxury yachts. But behind the fraud are real victims, real people now paying the price. Here in Florida, fraudsters applied for disaster relief loans, claiming to own 2 farms at this suburban gated community in sunny Palm City.
I don't have a phone, and obviously I don't have a farm.
Donna and Richard Lowe have been living here for 32 years and are currently on the hook for paying back nearly $100,000 in loans they say they never took out for a farm they don't own and that doesn't even exist.
And I kind of just thought, let me get stuff in the mail every day. You know, you're approved for this loan. I never even heard of the SBA because it's not a world that I needed to think about. And so I was just like, yeah, okay, I don't need another loan. Ripped it up.
The Lowe's have received countless letters from the Small Business Administration demanding repayment.
Our IDs were stolen by someone who took out 2 SBA loans, one in my name and one in Donna's name.
18 of them arrested today for stealing identities, some of which...
That's wild. That's an extra level of fraud. That's an extra level of filthy. Like identity theft and doing COVID theft on top of that. You know, bury them under the jail.
...belonged to people who were dead. All this to get financial benefits during the COVID pandemic. City employees charged with illegally getting those benefits. And all this was discovered, by the way, with an investigation into those illegal and unregulated...
Did you hear that? City employees, right? So these were people on the inside. They purposefully... identity theft plus defrauding the government. That's wild. Like double whammy.
Ghost guns. Wow.
The federal court documents claim Daniel Hitland from Erie County is facing federal charges for alleged bank fraud and money laundering of millions in COVID-19 pandemic relief funds. He's accused of submitting 3 false Paycheck Protection Program, also known as PPP loan applications. Federal agents claim Hitland received more than $2.5 million for his businesses, Sailor Sales, LLC, and Daniel Robert Hitland, DRH. He allegedly used the money to buy an
$89,000 Escalade, a $50,000 Corvette, $20K in watches, and properties for nearly $20,000. Wow.
Escalade, a $49,000 Corvette, $20,000 in Rolex watches, and 2 properties.
Like, just looking at that, like, what would you do if you had, I don't know, just if I were to give you $150,000 in aid? No, one mil. Let's just give you 1 mil, flat 1 mil, and you had to use this towards your business. Let's not even say you don't have a business, right? In this case, I give you $1 million and I tell you you have to put it towards a business. You're going to make up a business. That makes sense, right? But in this case, people purposely went out of their way and acted stupid.
Properties for $418,000 with the pandemic relief money. PPP loans were part of a federal program to provide financial help to business owners struggling financially, suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Investigators claim Hitland lied about the number of employees and payroll.
So you lie about your employees, you lie about how much you're paying people, and you just falsify documents.
On loan applications by submitting false payroll documents with his applications. He will be required to forfeit all the property he allegedly bought with the money. Daniel Hitland will face a judge on Monday. In Toledo, Alexis Means, 13 Action News.
We're talking about millions of dollars.
Yeah, so you're for no reason, right?
That was supposed to go to small businesses that were struggling, but instead one local accountant tried to help himself.
A 43-year-old Liberian national pleaded guilty Tuesday to orchestrating a fraud scheme to get more than $23 million in money that was
$23 million. Now, who do you think you are?
Supposed to help small businesses struggling during the pandemic, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Texas.
Criminals can be around any corner.
Stephen Jalul, seen here on his Facebook page, is an accountant. The listed address for his business is inside this North Dallas office building. A recent home address is at this apartment complex in Garland, where neighbors say he drove fancy cars and wore high-end clothing. Some we spoke with off camera suspected he was up to something shady. Others
had no idea.
When you're stupid and you flaunt it this way, you're bound to get caught.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it takes all kinds of people.
Here's what happened. The federal government rolled out $350 billion in forgivable PPP loans during the pandemic.
And that's the thing, $350 billion that were forgivable. Imagine if you actually needed the money, but someone like this ended up getting the money because they just completely lied.
It was meant to help struggling businesses pay and keep employees. The feds, however, say Jalul, after his arrest last fall, admitted while working as an accountant to inflating the number of employees businesses had so they could get more money from the government. Federal prosecutors say he tried to get $23 million on behalf of more than 160 clients. 97 of those loans were approved, and his clients were awarded $12 million. He was paid nearly $1 million in fees.
You know, I hope he gets what he deserves. Because
oh, let's go back. I don't think you guys caught that.
$23 million on behalf of more than...
Okay, so let's go.
So they could get more money from the government. Federal prosecutors say he tried to get $23 million on behalf of more than 160 clients. 97 of those loans were approved, and his clients were awarded $12 million. He was paid nearly $1 million in fees.
$1 million in fees. So that's the thing too, right? It's not just the people acting on bad faith. You have the identity theft cases that we just watched earlier, right? So someone who clearly had no understanding. You have people who just clearly are inside jobs, and then you have accountants purposefully inflating numbers to get the increased percentage fees because it's based on a commission sale if that's the case. But understand that this is fraud and scamming at multiple levels.
I hope he gets what he deserves because it was a pandemic and you've got folks that are, trying to keep their heads above water.
The thing is, this is not his first run-in with the law. He pleaded guilty to tax crimes in January 2020 and was on pre-trial release when he committed the PPP crimes, according to a criminal complaint.
I would never have known that.
Wow. Now he's facing up to 10 years in prison. Some of his neighbors can't help but think of the businesses that actually deserved and needed that money.
Some snake coming along.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right, because this money was intended for people who truly needed it.
Taking money that could be theirs rightfully.
Oh my God.
As neighbors in this Florida suburb sipped their morning coffee today, Josh Edwards was led away in handcuffs. His father, Evan, following soon after. According to a 6-count federal indictment, Josh Edwards lied on an application for a PPP loan back in April 2020 to keep the family's Christian ministry afloat during the pandemic. Asking for $6 million, the government approved a loan for $8 million. Edwards claimed there were nearly...
How do you ask for 6 and the government gives you 8?
500 employees and $2.7 million in payroll expenses. Both claims were false, according to prosecutors. Instead of setting up a ministry to help the poor, the Edwards tried to put a down payment on this $3 million house near Disney World.
Disney World on top of that. It's always like a level of unfortunate religion and taking advantage of people oftentimes come hand in hand. That's why it's often scrutinized, and it's just sad to see because it puts a bad faith in everyone's mouth when it comes to this. Like you're clearly, what are you going to do with this $3 million house?
NBC News profiled the case back in June,
including one Florida-based family ministry that received millions of taxpayer dollars to pay employees.
The Secret Service was on to the Edwards in September 2020. The loan application was signed off by an 88-year-old accountant suffering from dementia, and there were no signs of any employees at the ministry's office, according to court records. When agents tried to confront the family of 4, the cars were gone.
Police were waiting on this highway on-ramp for the Edwards as they headed north. When they stopped them, the father said that they were on their way to a conference in Texas, but he couldn't provide any details. And according to the authorities, in the back seat, there was a paper shredder the family bought the week before and garbage bags filled with shredded documents.
But the family was eventually let go, and although the money was seized, there were no criminal charges. We knocked on their door a year and a half later. Neighbors telling us they still live there. The U.S. Attorney's Office did not comment on why it took so long to indict the Edwards. An attorney for the father and son had no comment, while a judge ordered they get medical and psychiatric evaluations.
So, Stephanie, is it clear why they are acting now?
Well, Lester, a source familiar with the investigation tells us that our previous reporting on this story led authorities to prioritize the case, and it's one of many. Of the $800 billion that went out in PPP loans, experts
$800 billion. Just think about that.
estimate that $80 billion of it went to fraudsters.
All right.
They ought to lock
fraud
And
cases.
of that, allegedly.
Yeah. Well, this kind of fraud is just absolutely reprehensible because there was a limit to those funds.
Instead of funding a ministry set up to help
It's such a wild case that you understand that these people shouldn't have gotten the money, but as many cases of people who out there someone shouldn't have, right? Now, there's other cases like these. Let's go through a few compilations. Now, obviously, these are all sourced through various sources. You can see the video titles and the content creators down in each of my videos. Let's get
I'm
to
gonna
it.
tell you one thing. I don't give a fuck about that PPP warrant list. Don't motherfucker calling me talking about your cap. You heard about it? It's like, bro, it don't matter to me. And they ain't coming to get me. They might come and get your peoples, but they ain't getting me. The number one reason is my name ain't Arthur. You think that we want to?
He if y'all didn't catch that, he's trying to say that he didn't even wrong name, right?
So I'm saying everybody posting about this PPP shit, right? And I'm like, damn, hold up, is they really liking people? So me personally, I just felt like if you was missing out on that shit, you was done. And at the time, I was just at a low time in my life when the PPP shit was going on. It just caught me at the right time. So done, yo, why the fuck I just go on the website that one of the ladies said you can go up on her and it's a warrant list for everybody that did the PPP? Why the fuck is my name really on there? What the fuck am I supposed to do? I wasn't the one that did that shit. My cousin typed that shit up. Would I get in trouble if she was the one that did all the typing shit?
Now, in this case, the government don't care, right? They'll take everybody. Yeah, let's arrest everybody. And in this case, if your name's on the document, I'm sure that they got you.
I didn't even know what was going on. She just told me I could get some money. Shit, give her $3,500. I ain't gonna lie though, I'm low-key scared as shit. Everybody else that did that shit, can we make a group chat and just check on each other every day or something?
I just got off the phone with the lawyer. He's telling me the best options that I have are to turn myself in. What did I do to deserve this?
17 members of the Broward Sheriff's Office, which include both.
Now, clearly, a lot of these cases or a lot of these videos are made in comedic effect because it makes no sense.
BSO deputies and detention deputies released from the federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale after being indicted on charges that include wire fraud after federal investigators said they fraudulently applied for and received funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP loans. Attorney Brian Silver represents 3 of the defendants, some of whom have either been suspended or placed on leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
I can't comment on the nature of the case.
Sheriff Gregory Toney said he first learned of the crimes in November of 2021, prompting him to investigate all 5,500 of his employees, including himself and other top brass. Of the 17 indicted, 7 BSO deputies and 1 sergeant in law enforcement, and 8 detention deputies and 1 sergeant in corrections. We learned the defendants involved received tens of thousands of dollars, and while the investigation has proved that some of whom were investigated did have legitimate businesses, at the very least, the 17 now facing federal charges allegedly did not.
If you're going to be participating in criminal activities, we don't want you in this profession.
So that's like an internal fraud case, right? You know that the call is coming from inside the house.
That PPP loan came back to bite me in the ass, y'all. These folks want me to pay them so much money, and to think that I thought I was actually doing something right. You know how you be out here and you be trying to figure out, you know, what your next move gonna be and how you gonna make it happen. And then when something like that comes along, it kind of put you in a trance like, damn, this is actually something that I can actually get. Now keep in mind, I do have a business, you know, and I thought, I guess the person who did my paperwork kind of screwed up. And man, I'm put in a position where I either have to pay a lot of money or I could be going away for a while. And I never wanted that to be the case, you know. Man, that PPP loan was something, man, it was like a breakthrough for you, you know, when you were struggling and not knowing the outcome. So anybody who think that they got away with that shit, you didn't get away, man. We make terrible decisions, man, when the storm come. So when the sun come back out, we screwed, man. Y'all share this post. Follow me for updates.
Okay, you guys, I'm over here stressed out because you remember when the PP loan was here? I did the PP loan and I just got a freaking, oh my God, I just got a letter in the mail that said.
Now I also have a secondary question. You know that you did something illegal. Why are you making a video on it? Right? Like, why are you vlogging the experience? Now, this is just me critically thinking. I don't believe any of these people. Right? I believe they're just riding the wave of clout, doing it for attention online. But hey, you know, you guys let me know down in the comments.
I'm subpoenaed to court for this. And if charged, I'm facing 10 years in federal prison. 10 years in federal. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me get the paper for you guys. I'm going to show you the paper. Hold on. Because what the fuck? 10 years. Hold on. I'm trying not to cry because I'm trying to make sure.
Baby, my biggest regret is not signing up for the PPP loan. Because all y'all free. That was my biggest regret, is not signing up for the PPP loan. Because all y'all free. Just though we shut down again, I'm signing up for a PPP, EBT, SWB, TLC, WWE. I'm signing up for everything. All of it. Run me all of it.
Baby, this is the message for the motherfuckers who missed out on the PPP loan. Baby, I sure got that motherfucking PPP loan, bitch. And when I say bitch, I was living, bitch, living. Let me tell y'all where I was when my money hit my account. Baby, I was in the tub, relaxing. Bitch, some just told me to check my account. Bitch, I say 25. Oh, wow. Woo. Bitch, I took the most hoish bath in America. Bitch, I hurry up, clean and got on out of there, bitch. I'm 25,000 more rich around this bitch. And guess what? Motherfuckers didn't even know I got the PPP loan, because bitch, it was nobody business but mine. But guess, you got to know. Chances make champions, baby. I took that motherfucking chance, and guess what? I got that PPP loan forgiven. So guess what? I don't owe them a fuck ass thing. And no, I didn't go to jail for it. Y'all, the next one, oh bitch, I'm getting that one too. Baby, motherfuckers was scared, and guess what I was? Get my information put in. And guess what? Them motherfucking bands made me dance, bitch. Bitch, I was $25,000 more up around this bitch. And yes, my name was on that motherfucking list, but I didn't give a fuck. Y'all was broke and I was up. Hallelujah.
In 2020, I actually signed up for over 15 bogus small business loans. And since I'm already going to jail, it's time to tell my side of the story. Now, this scam started out like any other good scam. An error from the government, an opportunity for me. There was a form that you could fill out online, and it would ask you 3 questions. It would ask you, do you own a small business? You would check yes. Then it would ask you if you want $10,000. You check yes. And then it would say, do you promise you own a small business? And then you check yes again, and boom, $10,000 bucks. Now, this process was like taking candy from a baby. So once I got the $10,000, I did the right thing, and I told everyone I knew about. Now, at first, people were skeptical. They said, Drake, what do you mean you just answered 3 questions and then $10,000 appears in your account? But I assured them it was legit. So next thing you know, I was signing everybody up. I was taking their information, signing up for this loan, and then I was giving them $50 out of the $10,000. And until things went wrong, like really, really, really wrong, everybody was happy. And to be honest, no problems really occurred until they realized that, hey, maybe this Drake guy isn't a trapdoor salesman. Now, in my defense and everyone else's defense who had taken this opportunity, what else were we supposed to do? Big Brother came down, locked us down, and told us we couldn't make any money. We were just doing what we had to do. I'm just glad I got to come on here and tell my side of the story. It's been real, and I will see you in 3 to 6.
Yo, it's wild to me that you got a case like that. That's funny. Now, I don't believe he's telling the truth, but that's just me. So when you see something like that, like, yo, hold on, we gotta go back. We gotta go back and listen to this dude. He says he's going to jail, but I don't believe him. You guys let me know.
Story. Now, this scam started out like any other good scam. An error from the government, an opportunity for me. There was a form that you could fill out online, and it would ask you 3 questions. It would ask you, do you own a small business? You would check yes. Then it would ask you if you want $10,000. You check yes. And then it would say, do you promise you own a small business? And you check yes again, and boom, $10,000. Now, this process was like taking candy from a baby. So once I got the $10,000, I did the right thing, and I told everyone I knew about. Now, at first, people were skeptical. They said, Drake, what do you mean you just answered 3 questions and then $10,000 appears in your account? But I assured them it was legit. So next thing you know, I was signing everybody up. I was taking their information, signing up for this loan, and then I was giving them $50 out of the $10,000. And until things went wrong, like really, really, really wrong, everybody was happy.
Now, when he means 50, he was giving them 50. Does he mean 50,000? Like 50%? Like 15 maybe? 1,500? Because giving someone $50 out of putting their name down for 10,000 is just a spit in the face. That's just disrespectful.
And to be honest, no problems really occurred until they realized that, hey, maybe this Drake guy isn't a trapdoor salesman. Now, in my defense and everyone else's defense who had taken this opportunity, what else were we supposed to do? Big Brother came down, locked us down, and told us we couldn't make any money. We were just doing what we had to do. I'm just glad I got to come on here and tell my side of the story. It's been real, and I will see you in 3 to 6 years.
This is Damara Honus. She's a former president of the Broward County Black Democratic Caucus. She's also the daughter of former Broward County Mayor Dale Honus, who's running for Congress. Well, she's just been charged by the feds for PPP fraud. According to the feds, she received $300,000 in PPP funds for a consulting company that supposedly had 18 employees. This company was also supposed to have around $120,000 per month in payroll expenses. However, the feds say she didn't have any employees at all. The feds also say that she paid accomplices to pretend that they were her employees. She's facing up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. She's been released on a $100,000 surety bond. And listen, man, the feds have established a hotline where people can call and report other people. They're actively looking for the public to help them prosecute, man. Y'all be careful.
PPP loan fraud cases are popping up all over the country, but this particular one really caught my attention. 39-year-old Anton Matthews of Wheeling, West Virginia was just indicted for stealing $50,000 in a CARES Act loan fraud. In his loan application, he said he was operating a food truck making $100,000 a year, when in actuality he was serving time in prison for cocaine distribution. Yes, you heard that right. An inmate in...
Hold on. He was in jail getting the money? What? No, he had someone on the outside.
Federal prison successfully navigated the PPP loan application process to rip off $50,000 while wearing an orange jumpsuit doing air squats in the exercise yard. And while I disapprove of any fraud, I kind of got to respect the hustle here, just a little bit. Mostly, I wish I was the FBI special agent assigned this case. I suspect that proving this one beyond a reasonable doubt won't be a heavy lift. And that's what happened. My first case as a private detective was an investigation of a CEO by the name of Martin Cowell. The case involved an embezzlement he conducted using funds his company received from fraudulently obtained PPP loans during COVID. Now, the FBI was investigating the matter criminally, but my investigation was part of a civil suit for which I provided expert witness testimony about my findings. My investigation proved that Martin simultaneously applied for 2 PPP loans for his company from 2 different banks at the same time using falsely inflated payroll numbers. Once the loans funded, he diverted $2 million in the proceeds for a down payment on a beachfront house in Hawaii. Now, I'll admit that the PPP program was riddled with fraud nationwide, and the FBI is still picking up the pieces from that program. For his part, Martin lost his civil suit, and he recently pleaded guilty to the fraud in his criminal case. It'll be really interesting to see how long he goes to prison when he's sentenced in January. That's what happened. Have a great day, and be cool.
Dude, why is this happening? Is it really that easy just to steal money?
I heard them PPP loans to touch back down. Who ain't gonna be on that train? Me? Baby, lock me up. Throw away the key, put it under the jail, do what you gotta do, baby. Prison time, fed time. The money gonna be there when I get out. Everybody that did that PPP loan last time is out and free. They ain't did no jail time. They ain't even get caught. Who? PPP loan, here I come, baby. PPP stand for pressure, 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 okay? I'm finna apply it, and I'm finna get that loan back. I already know what I'm doing with the money, baby. I'm gonna buy me a dinosaur. I'm finna go buy me a giraffe, all kind of...
She said about to buy me a dinosaur. I just have too much ethic. Like I'm too good of a person to want to do this. But it's wild to me that people are truly getting away with $100,000, millions of dollars of fraud, and the government didn't care. But like on top of that, it's wild to me that the money was truly intended for someone to actually use it towards their company, their business, their expenses that they weren't receiving. They had bills to pay, and for every dollar that went to someone scamming the government, scamming the system, an actual business wonder.
Unnecessary stuff to get rid of the money. I might buy up this neighborhood that I'm living in. I don't know. It just depends on how I might be feeling. PPP loan gonna see me, gonna hear me, gonna feel me, baby. I need it in my life. I ain't declining this time, yeah. Sign me up. How much is the payout? When do I get it? How long do it take? Will they be able to track it? Will they know which account I'm gonna put it in? Let's go.
Arrest warrants are dropping. Arrests are being made right now as we speak. Do you know who's going down? The first person is Love and Hip Hop star, was sentenced to over 17 years in federal prison for misusing PPP loan money. They used it on child support allegedly and luxury items. The next person to go down is an Olympic skater. For $10 million, he screwed the government. For $10 million, you know what he used the money for? To finance a film with our tax money. Lisa Bloom, allegedly a prominent attorney in Los Angeles, a woman who represented all the accusers for that Harvey Weinstein weirdo. They had to pay a fine of $274,000. These cases underscore that PPP funds, that free money wasn't so free. Did you lie on your application? Are you on the list? The list is right down here. I'm going to send you to ProPublica PPP tracker. Check to see if your name's on the list. You're going to be surprised of all the companies. Put your old business in there. Put your neighbor in there. You're going to see all the people that got free money.
People are now going to jail for taking out PPP loans back in 2020 when they really didn't need to. Now, the woman that I showed you there has gotten the biggest sentencing that any of us have seen. She is going to prison for 9.5 years. She is currently counting down on her TikTok her next 30 days here before she goes and surrenders and gives herself up to police. This woman here was making a video telling people that you did not have to take out the PPP loan. Everybody was doing it back in 2020, and now they're finally starting to go to jail. And we don't know exactly how long this guy is going away for, but he said, I might be going away for a while. That PPP loan came back to bite me. And as people in his comment section pointed out, you thought you were committing fraud, was doing something right. I got 40K in PPP loans and 100% went to pay my employees, and I got a forgiveness letter with no.
That's the thing, right? If you truly had some documentation backing it behind you, you wouldn't have to worry anything, right? If you truly had employees and you claimed payroll, no issues. If you truly had expenses and you had to pay off bills, no issues. But if you're just faking,
no issues. My PPP loan was great. I followed the guidelines. When you look up PPP loan, the last one, the fourth one right there, back in October. But in the past 11 hours, 3 different people have been charged with crimes regarding their PPP loan. So if you know anyone that got a PPP loan in 2020, check on them.
PPP loan fraud cases are popping up all over the country, but this particular one really caught my attention. 39-year-old Anton Matthews of Wheeling, West Virginia was just indicted for stealing $50,000 in a CARES Act loan fraud. In his loan application, he said he was operating a food truck making $100,000 a year, when in actuality he was serving time in prison for cocaine distribution. Yes, you heard that right. An inmate in federal prison successfully...
That's how wild it is, where someone who's actively in jail. Now, obviously, I believe that he had someone on the outside, but someone who's actively serving in jail was able to get the loan.
I suspect that proving this one beyond a reasonable doubt won't be a heavy lift. And that's what happened. Have a great day and be cool.
Seth Rogen took out a $1.8 million PPP loan. And before you watch the rest of this video, in December, I think, of 2024, he came out with a new drink. It's called Houseplant. I suggest you go and support him and buy it because it has 3 milligrams of THC in it, and it might help the hit when I tell you that his loan most likely was forgiven. A lot of them are. So from what I'm reading, it's just if the company met certain criteria, they forgave the loan, is basically. So if you paid payroll, you did this with the money, you did that. I don't know if anything was checked on anyone, but we know. So he says his quote, he's worth $80 million. His quote, life as I see it is R-rated. I don't even know how to answer that, but stay tuned because today I'm gonna bring down the banking system in a fun way.
Y'all might not see me too much longer. I ended up getting a letter in the...
All right, I'm gonna stop you right here. If I see a video, you just starting off crying, not even little crying, just bawling, I don't believe you, right? Because you're doing this for clout, you're doing it for attention of others, or you're just lying, doing it for the attention of others, right? And all of those aspects, I can't trust you. But if you turn the camera on, because this is what has to happen, you have to start crying, actively crying, and think, I need to record this for the internet, right? Not for myself, not for my family, not for I need to record this. And they, who?
The mail from the IRS. That fucking PPP loan got my motherfucking ass. That shit got me. I took out a loan for $50,000 in. I don't know how I'm gonna pay that shit back.
All right, so I'm gonna stop you right there. Again, the moment he said I took a loan out for $50,000, the key word in there, loan. What did you, he said, I didn't know how I'm gonna pay it back. Why'd you take a loan?
Like when you in a fucked up situation, you in a bind, you in a fucked up situation, man, you willing to do any motherfucking thing to get out that shit. You willing to do anything to get out that motherfucking shit. You know, I was just in a tight spot. I was in a tight spot and I needed some money. And I didn't know they was just offering people money. And it's just like, we was in a motherfucking recession. And the fucking pandemic, man, when nobody working for real, man. And they told me that they told me I gotta pay the money back, or I'm gonna face federal prison time, dog. Federal prison.
See, he's doing too much right now. He's clearly lying. He's doing too much.
Time, man. It's like I was just trying to. It's like this was a setup or some shit.
He said it's a loan and it was a setup. You apply for. He's trolling. I get it.
And that was y'all playing with us like that, man. This shit ain't right. This shit ain't right. Donald Trump, you gotta do something about this, bro.
He said, Donald Trump, you gotta do something about this.
Help a nigga out. You say you fuck with us. You say you fuck with us. Here, show me. Show me, Donald Trump. Fuck with me, nigga.
He said, Donald Trump, show me. Now, listen, I don't know about you guys. Let's go down to the comments and see what some of these got to say, right? is it a warrantless, or they're referring to the loan database? They're talking about the loan database. There wasn't just a list, but there was a outstanding. These are the members who took out a loan against it, right? Ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. That's true. That's not true. Applegate, I don't know what any of that is. But at the end of the day, did you think you were going to get away with it? You said it's a loan and you don't know how you're going to pay it back. Did you think?
The poor, the family put a down payment on this $3 million house in a gated community, blocks from Disney World. Within months, federal agents started asking questions.
It was September 2020, and Secret Service agents came to this home where the Edwards family was living. They wanted to know what they were doing with millions of dollars in taxpayer money, but when they got here, no one was home, the cars were gone, and the house was cleared out.
The Secret Service quickly asked Florida Highway Patrol to pull them over.
Police were waiting on this highway on-ramp for the Edwards as they headed north. When they stopped them, the father said that they were on their way to a conference in Texas, but he couldn't provide any details.
So if you work for a church, why scam the people and then lie about it? Right? Because that's the whole reason why people stop believing, right? Is because cases like this. So you have to understand that the effects that a case like this has going forward is only going to affect the religious community, because it hurts everybody in this case. When he's like, yeah, pastor claims fraud, buys a $3 million house. Let's be honest, who needs a $3 million? It was like by Disney World. Who needs that?
Prosecuted.
Just last year, the family released new videos asking for donations, but quickly took them down.
Smith says he was looking for ways to keep making money during the lockdown when he says
Now, this is another one, right? This is like an entertainer. I remember seeing this on the news. This is like an entertainer who tries to claim ignorance.
someone he knew and trusted told him he could help him get a loan.
So he's calling me like, yeah, man, open up your phone. Man, just click right there. Yeah, click it. All right, that's it, man. That's it. I ain't read nothing or nothing.
He said just fill out these forms, and you filled out the forms.
No, I didn't fill them out. They filled them out. They said click the button. All I did was click a button, and that got me in prison.
I see. That's ignorance. All I did was click a button. What do you mean you clicked a button? Was he sitting over your shoulder like, hey, just click this button? That's not how this works. Did he send you a signature? Did you click the button? How was this button? Show me where the button was. Is the button in the room with us right now?
How much was it?
Like $420 or something.
$426,000. You didn't have a thought maybe this is too good to be true?
No.
Right, this is the first thing. No.
I'm in the music business. We make money like this all the time.
Smith says he paid that man a commission of $200,000 for helping him secure the loan.
Listen, you understand that there's a level of transactional happening when it comes to $400,000, right? Like if he's in the music business, that means that he understands the licensing, the distribution, the infrastructure, the sales, right? At minimum, he would have an understanding. No, he's just claiming ignorance. Listen, if you claim ignorance or stupidity, in both cases, it doesn't matter. You're still guilty.
So I didn't think nothing of it. All I thought was, let me give him his percentage so I can have done good business.
Prosecutors say Smith then falsely applied for a second loan in his mother's name and received an additional $700,000. Then he says he spoke to his accountant.
Hold on, did he say what his percentage was?
So I didn't think nothing of it. All I thought was, let me give him his percentage so I can have done good business.
Okay, so he said he's going to give his percentage. What does that mean?
Prosecutors say Smith then falsely applied for a second loan in his mother's name and received an additional $700,000. Then he says he spoke to his accountant.
He said this was a PPP loan. I said, what was that? He said, this is a government PPP loan.
Okay, all right. Y'all tell me if you falsified your grandma's name on some loan documents before. Y'all tell me, because I've never done anything like that. That's wild. It's wild of a statement to even claim that you don't know, and then you're going to double back, and then you're going to purposely put someone else's name on it.
Prosecutors say Smith was part of a South Florida ring that applied for a total of $35 million in PPP loans. So where did the money go?
In the accounts.
And then from your account, what'd you spend it on?
I did some charity stuff, gave out money to friends and family like Santa Claus.
The prosecutors in this case said that you had to
All right, so I'm going to ask y'all, if you purposely get a loan, do you go off and give the money away? Or do you know that you have to pay it back?
ignorance of truth, meaning that you just didn't want to know the facts.
That's how they painted it.
Yeah, you're being stupid.
I didn't know. It's hard to believe.
Prosecutors said instead of employee payroll, Smith spent money on purchases like a Ferrari, shopping at Versace, and over $27,000 at the...
I don't care what aspect of entertainment that you are in. You can't just go off and buy luxury goods like this. It's too stupid on any case.
Seminole Hard Rock Casino near Miami. So you don't apologize for the lifestyle because this is something that you've been leading for a long time now.
That's in my business. A luxury car is what is in the business. Clothing is in the business.
No, it's not. It's not. See, the aspect of something like this, it's very easy to understand how you can write it off. You purchasing the vehicle, he could have leased it. He could have rented it for whatever show that he wanted. If he did a music video, there's no justification of purchasing the Ferrari, right? Purchasing let's just say it was $1 million Ferrari. And if the case is right, I would like to see the documentation on his accountant justifying it for a tax write-off because he's in the entertainment industry, right?
Hair, makeup, a stylist, travel expenses. Those are business expenses for the music
Those are, but not purchasing a Ferrari.
business.
Smith pled guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud and served a year in federal prison. His mother was never charged. Blue maintains the DOJ targeted him partly because of his profession.
I'm a public figure. For a headline, they prosecuted me.
The thing is, I'm sure that he understands this because he was in a music group, Pretty Ricky, an R&B music group. But I mean, I don't know much about him outside of the money, likely outside of wasn't hitting as much. So going back from millions of dollars down to nothing and hitting this, what was like $25 million, he probably thought he's playing stupid, right? He was clearly in on the ring.
With link analysis, on that case alone, 30 people were convicted, 30 different people in that same ring. So what do we say about the other 29 people that were in that ring?
Yeah, like you can't act like everyone in that case is just completely being stupid, right? Let's be so direct.
Dollars in PPE loans using falsified information. Rossi and his accomplices allegedly collected more than $2 million in the scheme. He faces up to 132 years in prison.
Facing 6 months in jail. According to our news partners at the Miami Herald, Rochelle Holness pled guilty to a fraud charge, and this stemming from a pandemic benefits program. As part of her federal plea deal, she avoids another charge accused of stealing from her father's county commission campaign in 2020. This saga comes 2 years after her younger sister, Damara Holness, was sentenced to prison for more than a year for defrauding the COVID-area Paycheck Protection Program to the tune of $300,000.
His word is his will.
When the pandemic hit, Canadian Joshua Edwards asked the U.S. government to help his family's ministry stay afloat. He said they needed $6 million.
Again, right? Like it always comes back to religious issues. It's wild.
Fraud. This $3.5 million Florida mansion seized by the IRS was bought with taxpayer dollars that were supposed to rescue American jobs and small businesses. Instead, according to law enforcement, it funded a swim-up bar and a horse stable. The buyer got $7 million from the federal government, allegedly claiming he had 400 employees. According to prosecutors, he had none. Have you been surprised by how quickly fraudsters moved in on this money?
Unfortunately, not really.
All right, did y'all hear that? Someone claimed that they had 400 employees, but really had none, and yet they were still able to get all of these millions. And this is the aspect that I'm trying to understand, right? Did they purposely just claim the number plus payroll plus expenses because of like a no social security number requirement? Like they had to have put someone's social security number down, right? Like that couldn't have been that easy.
Michael Horowitz is the top cop overseeing the effort to make sure the $5 trillion in taxpayer dollars went to the right place. This is his first interview in his role as the head of the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee.
And the Small Business Administration, in sending that money out, basically said to people, apply and sign and tell us that you're really entitled to the money. And of course, for fraudsters, that's an invitation.
The fraudsters are bold, buying luxury cars, flights on private jets, mansions, like this Los Angeles couple who led a massive $20 million fraud ring using fake IDs to apply for loans for fake businesses. They texted about the cash that was available. You need to apply, $10K guaranteed. They don't check for blank. It's all automated. Days later, texting, they got the money. I did 7 applications last night, and 4 of them got email that it's funded. I'm telling you to apply to Bluevine, an online loan processor. How much they send you? Like over 500 so far. Raising questions as to how they got the money in the first place, Congress now investigating Bluevine, one of the third-party service providers who processed billions in loans and touted that a business could get loan approval in 5 minutes.
What didn't happen was even minimal checks to make sure that the money was getting to the right people at the right time.
Authorities have pointed
Again, the minimal checks, right? It's wild.
To red flags like the couple listing identical payroll every month. We wanted to ask the company why that didn't tip them off. Bluevine would not do an interview, but sent us a statement saying in part they used robust compliance to reduce fraud in accordance with government guidelines, but say it's regrettable that the government's loan programs were abused by bad actors, despite our best efforts. When federal agents arrived at the couple's door, they allegedly tried to stash this bag of $450,000 in their backyard. Once convicted, they fled, abandoning their teenage children. Arrested finally in Montana.
Yo, that's a wild story. Like just leaving your kids behind and going to Italy.
Negro. Investigators insist there are so many more cases like this to uncover. One of their data scientists in California programs computers to find discrepancies.
It's basically impossible for humans to go through it by hand. It would take way too much time.
Just one red flag, this building in San Francisco that they found listed on more than 1,300 different loan applications.
We have our data scientists.
Yeah, I mean, but because the whole aspect is like they wanted to give the government free range just to throw out money, so they had no whole bars. Like it's just 1,300 on one address.
Pouring through those records, looking for anomalies, matching addresses.
These are people who are betting on the fact that you may not be looking.
And what we're here to tell them is we're looking.
But first, we're learning more about federal charges from an alleged pandemic scheme. A Phoenix couple, including a former TV news anchor, is arrested in Puerto Rico, accused of pocketing tens of millions of dollars illegally. Nicole Christine joins us with the details tonight. Nicole.
Well, Brian, Stephanie Hockridge, a former anchor at ABC 15 here in Phoenix, and her husband Nathan Reese are accused of submitting false and fraudulent Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, loans. The couple took out loans for themselves and then showed others how easy it was to get taxpayer cash. A scheme worth hundreds of millions of dollars, set against the backdrop of global pandemic relief.
Criminals and criminal organizations took advantage of Americans suffering during this crisis and committed substantial fraud against these critical pandemic relief programs.
Among the alleged criminals, a former Valley television anchor, Stephanie Hockridge, and her husband, Nathan Reese. During a federal hearing, numbers reaching into 10 figures are discussed.
I think it was 57,000 applications in PPP where individuals were for applicants who are on the do not pay list, involving several billions of dollars.
And how much fraud are we talking about just in those loans?
$3.6 billion.
Hockridge and Reese are accused of attempting to directly charge some applicants a 10% fee for successfully getting a loan, a violation of the Small Business Administration rules. A review of the loans showed what the couple was willing to do for the money, including Reese claiming in an application he was African American and a veteran. Other evidence showed Hockridge describing the PPP
People were able to just completely lie on all documentation. It's wild.
as, quote, $100 billion of free money. And although the PPP loans were set up for small businesses, Hockridge told her staff, quote, who the F cares? We're not the first bank to decline borrowers who deserve to be funded. They can go elsewhere. Reese and Hockridge also requested direct payments from PPP borrowers, ultimately scamming them out of substantial amounts of their loans. The entire process laid out in a 90-second video, now at the center of an alleged federal deception. The duo took their stolen millions to set up a lavish lifestyle in Puerto Rico,
They had a
where her
minute
husband was taken into custody
tutorial.
by federal authorities.
That's how easy it was.
Now, both Hockridge and Reese are charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. Hockridge has been summoned to appear in a Dallas, Texas court on Monday. They face up to 20 years in prison on each count if convicted. Reporting live in studio, Nicole Christine, Fox 10 News.
Cheryl, authorities say the alleged offenders were able to obtain loans in the range of $20,000. Many of them simply wrote down names of fake businesses on their applications, and some even applied for the loans while sitting in jail. Joliet police, along with federal authorities, announcing the indictment of 25 people who allegedly defrauded the Federal Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, which helped struggling businesses during the pandemic.
These PPP loans, that if they're obtaining fraudulently, they're taking that money out of the businesses in our local area that actually need them.
The investigation, dubbed Operation Triple P, targeted people arrested for felony weapons offenses
Operation
who would also apply
Triple
for
P.
unemployment benefits. The investigation was then able to identify those suspected of defrauding PPP.
Getting their application, and part of the prerequisites was they cannot have an open felony indictment, which is how we came up with our list of candidates.
Police say some of the alleged fraudsters were already in custody and used phones at the jail to call to complete the fraudulent applications.
That some of the targets bonded out on their felony cases days after receiving their fraudulent PPP loan.
Police say of the 25 indicted individuals, 15 have been arrested, and 10 more are still being sought.
Without holding offenders accountable, history has proven that bad actors will shamelessly defraud the government and taxpayers in the name of greed.
PPP loan fraud is hardly unique to Will County. It's a problem nationwide, and currently the federal government is working to recoup billions of dollars in fraudulent payouts.
Multiple oversight officials estimate that at least $100 billion in COVID relief loan funding earmarked to help small business owners make payroll was stolen by fraudsters.
I think people made a conscious decision. We're going to get the money out, and if there's fraud, you'll chase it later. And that's just not an acceptable model.
Fox News sat down with Michael Horowitz, chair of the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee and Inspector General of the Department of Justice.
What are the most basic forms of trying to stop this fraud? Verify the identity of the person who's applying. What we found was that
Bare basics. Bare basics. I think in the last case we saw, they were promising or trying to guarantee small business loan applications being approved in as little as 5 minutes. That's a wild statement, right? You're like, hey, yeah, we can give you $100K in less than 5 minutes. All you got to do is just put all in the information, payroll, copy, paste, 1,500 addresses having, or applications having the same address. Yeah, like there should have been maybe like, let's get that wait time closer to like a week, right? Like bare minimum. I mean, if you're talking about millions, there should have been some I think like truly there should have been a manual review agent, the same way that you have to go through an underwriting process whenever you apply for a mortgage, right? There should have been a manual review process of, I don't know, let's just say $10,000 or more, right? $10,000 or more with bulk multi-millions in a different scenario. But $10,000 or more, there should have been a manual review process with a automated smart way within 3 days of less than $10,000, right? Like $10,000 would have been the cutoff for like an actual underwriting process, verifying everything. And $10,000 would have been a some different, right? Like that's bare minimum.
basic steps to determine identity.
Basics.
Second, the Treasury Department has a do not pay system. Well, it turned out 57,000 loans were paid out in those first few weeks to individuals who are on the do not pay list. Third, check against the deceased individuals list that the Social Security Administration keeps.
Since the Small Business Administration ended the Paycheck Protection Program, known as PPP, in May 2021, hundreds of arrests have been made by the FBI. You couldn't rule out that we're at the $100 billion mark.
So I can't rule out that the fraud could be not only in the tens of billions, but maybe, as some have estimated, upwards of $100 billion. But it's too early for me to tell you how high that number is going to go.
Two of the most brazen instances of fraud are out of Los Angeles. The Avazian case was a family affair. According to court documents, Richard and his wife, Marietta Tarabellian, adopted fake identities and secured at least $18 million in PPP loans. They are alleged to have used their illegally obtained loans to purchase gold coins, luxury watches, and homes in the Golden State before their arrest in October 2021. Richard was sentenced in absentia to 17 years, while his wife was sentenced to 6 years. Both are awaiting extradition. According to official filings in another case, Andrew Marnell pled guilty to securing...
No money, no problems.
Dude, they just are able to... And you're over here working hard, and these guys are just scamming.
At least for former Atlanta City Attorney and Democrat Shalita Robertson. Now, she was just sentenced to 7 years behind bars after being found guilty for pandemic loan fraud over $15 million worth. Robertson gave out this advice in 2023.
Goes back to what I've always told you. Don't ever chase the money. The money will come. Chase the universe, not the bag. That's it.
Oh, no. They were able to dig up the podcast clips. That's dirty.
Chase your passion, baby. Chase your dream. The money will come.
Yeah, the money will come courtesy of the American taxpayers. Because safe to say, she didn't practice what she preached. In April and May of 2020, Robertson chose to follow the money and fraudulently applied for millions of dollars in government loans for 4 businesses that she owned. And then she hooked herself up with luxury items that came with a very steep price tag, such as a swanky Rolls Royce, a 10-carat diamond ring. And Georgia filings show that she donated $1,000 to Trump prosecutor Fani Willis's Democratic primary election campaign. That donation went through around the same time that Robertson received her massive payouts from the Paycheck Protection Program. Harris, you can't make this up.
No, I mean, when you hear about all that, they can't.
That's scamming news. Look at that. Oh, my goodness.
See that she was raking in. She was rolling like J-Lo before Ben Affleck. Is there a fiduciary responsibility of Fani Willis as a district attorney to pay attention to, as then a candidate who's donating to her campaign? Like, when you get a certain amount, are you responsible for looking and seeing where that money came from? And if you are, in something like this hoax, are you also responsible for going after that person? I mean, I have questions for Fani Willis now. Robertson basically answered them all. She chased the money, and she was trying to make sure that the pot was big, so she was trying to tell everybody else don't chase the money. Right. So when she got there and found the money, it'd be waiting for her.
Right. And according to 12 New York jurors, then absolutely every dollar needs to be scrutinized when you're coming about election, right, Kaylee?
Yes.
In politics, there is a drumbeat. Like with Harvey Weinstein, when I was at the RNC, they were demanding the DNC pay back the money that was paid to them by Harvey Weinstein in the form of donation. So that is a fair question for Fani Willis. But the audacity of this woman, the Paycheck Protection Program came into place during COVID when I was in the administration, and it was for the purpose of being given to business owners to keep your employees paid, because employees couldn't work, businesses we didn't want them to go under. So this PPP program was for that purpose. This woman wrote on a form that she had 4 companies and 427 employees. I looked everywhere. I want to know how many employees.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we saw that. You have, in that other case, 400 fake employees, and no one like questioned it. It's wild. There should have been at least at minimum social security numbers that you had to put in, or an EIN number. But if you're telling me, because I mean, as a business owner, you're already paying, social security taxes for these W-2 employees anyways, or the 1099s, you shouldn't have to worry about. But like, just falsifying 400 fake people.
She actually had. She clearly didn't have 427. She wanted to go out and buy diamonds.
Well, you can steal the money without any employees, which was part of the fraud, just to be clear. By the way, that program was $1.2 trillion. Just last summer, there was a report that $200 billion possibly was spent in fraudulent claims, PPP, unfortunately. Yes. There was a pastor in Minnesota. He said he had 28 employees. He didn't have any. There was a pastor, a man in Florida. He bought himself a $3 million home. Didn't even have a business.
Wow.
I mean, the fraud was massive. So it was meant in a good way, obviously. But look, at the end of the day, Sam Bankman-Fried, all that money that that crypto stolen money that he gave to all those politicians in D.C., they're not giving that to the other stuff. Fun.
Lawrence, here's the thing. The government only makes money because of our taxpayer dollars or what it seizes from us. So the good idea wasn't actually a good idea. If they would lessen regulations, that's how businesses thrive and are able to actually make an income. So her getting the free money and everything that people used to crow about and sing about, it is our money that not only goes to the government, but then goes to those fraudulent recipients. And it seems that no one in that party ever appreciates or recognizes that.
They don't understand it, and they're so hypocritical. And this happened all over the country. But what's particularly egregious about her case is part of what her claim to fame is justice, especially in the area. And ATL is the modern-day Black Wall Street. She was stealing money from the community that she said that she was advocating for. $15 million that were supposed to go to employment of those Black residents, while still saying under the banner that she's saying no justice, no peace, racial justice. How can you advocate for that and steal from those same people in the area? But this is par for the course with the Democrats of today.
Well, that's right. Ask Ms. Colors, who was leading up the BLM organization.
Right.
And that was a fraud.
Yeah, that's right. And hypocrisy is not a crime yet, but fraud certainly is.
And now to the alleged criminals looking to exploit the COVID-19 crisis and the trillions of dollars in government relief. The Justice Department today disclosed details of what it calls a historic effort to crack down on these COVID-related scams. Here's a look by the numbers. The DOJ says it's charged 474 defendants with fraud schemes connected to the pandemic who collectively tried to scam $569 million.
Yeah, so it literally seems like the prosecution specifically are targeting anyone with $1 million or more in these bulk numbers, right? If you go back, 474 defendants, 569 total, dollars in the case. So we're looking at over $1 million per people targeted
from individuals and the U.S. government in 56
So if you try to steal $1 million,
federal districts all over the country. At least 120 of those defendants are charged with Paycheck Protection Program fraud. Now, one Texas man pled guilty to fraudulently obtaining more than $17 million in PPP funds by filing more than a dozen loan applications and then using the money to buy homes, jewelry, and luxury cars. More than 140 defendants have been charged with federal unemployment insurance fraud since the pandemic began. Now, one of them pled guilty to scamming more than $499,000 in jobless benefits. And finally, a whopping $580 million. That's what the DOJ and Secret Service say they've seized from people who've defrauded a federal loan program meant to help small businesses and charities. Sickening.
The feds have
like when you go through this process and you see that you want to become a small business owner and you want to go through the struggles and you want to go through the battles and put it all and try to struggle the same way that I guess you're told to struggle, right? Those aspects are laughable when you see people like this.
It's designed to help small business owners survive the pandemic, but not all the money went to where it should have. A House subcommittee says it found new evidence that the Trump administration mismanaged the program, leading to nearly $84 billion in fraudulent loans. Let's bring in Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, who represents Illinois' 8th District. Congressman, good to have you on the show. So tell us, why were these records that were being submitted for PPP loans being vetted or cross-referenced in some way? Why did your committee find so many glaring loopholes for people looking to commit fraud?
That's right, Lana. It was a massive problem. Just to give you one example, upwards of $70 billion in loans, idle loans, emergency injury disaster loans, were made to businesses with duplicate IP addresses, email addresses, duplicate bank account information, and duplicate mailing addresses. There was one email address in one instance associated with 10 different bathroom renovation companies. Later, when they went to discover whether or not those companies existed, they did not. And in fact, that email address was associated with a burrito restaurant.
Feds have picked up steam when it comes to the PPP loan fraud arrest and investigation across the United States. They're picking up steam. To be perfectly honest with you, according to my sources.
Yeah, I mean, the overall arrests need to happen, right? Let's just type in PPP loan arrest. Ooh, TikToks. Hold on. Let's just see what people on TikTok are talking about, right?
Man, y'all better hit me up, man. I'm doing so many of them, man. Stop playing, tap in, 20K. Yeah, you know what it is. Mention me, tag your friend, do whatever, comment, yeah. What you doing? Yeah, you know what it is.
PPP loans, 20K. Hit me up to file. You know I got the answers. $20,000 for $40. So they're trying to say that they can get. All right, they can get. I could get you 10K for $40. Too good to be true. It is.
Hey, Mom, I love you. POP, I'm down. Like these all good pimp squad, baby, for life. Now the.
Hey, yo, you.
PPP loan. I'll tell you.
I just want you to know that if you can't back up that business, you're going to jail.
Dubai, and you gonna be riding around in a Honda Accord. You scary as hell.
Oh, God, let me go in here and act like I give a fuck and be fake for 8 motherfucking hours. God damn, boy. Shit, why I gotta keep coming here? Come on, give me another job.
Y'all bitches is stupid. Y'all bitches is miserable. Y'all bitches is dumb. Y'all bitches gonna make me go back to my old ways. And I've been trying to change, but y'all got me fucked up. Kiss my motherfucking ass.
Listen, all I'm saying, right, is that if you decided to put all the effort into that arrest, instead of scamming, let's just get it, let's just do something good. Let's actually make a business. Is that so hard? All right, I'm gonna finish off with Zacharias's compilation, the PPP loan fraud cost taxpayers
actually
billions.
signed up for over 15 bogus small business loans.
So let's get into it. Hold on. I got y'all.
FBI is arresting thousands of people right now that took out PPP loans.
So in 2020, everybody was doing the PPP. My cousin did it, my brother did it, then my best friend did it.
Okay, so today we're going to be looking at a topic I talked about in my scam video, but you guys really wanted me to go more in depth, and that is the PPP loan fraud. Because if you've seen any of the clips on TikTok recently, people are finally getting caught after 4 years. And as crazy as it sounds, people are apparently recording their experiences for TikTok and views. We live in a crazy world now. Attention is the drug of choice.
And that's the thing, right? Even though people are clipping themselves up specifically for this, I don't believe it's real. I call it what you want. I don't believe any of it's real. I don't believe people are purposely putting themselves on the internet, telling you that they've committed a crime, crying their crime, saying, I don't know how this could have happened. I refuse to believe that.
Comments down below, but I think we should start off at the beginning, what the PPP loans were and how much money was given out in the first place.
$284 billion in stimulus money is now up for grabs.
So pay attention if you are a small business owner. You can start applying for a PPP loan today if you are a first-time PPP borrower or small business applying through a community financial institution. Now, these types of banks usually provide funding to underserved communities. Then on Wednesday, second draw PPP loan applications will be accepted for small businesses applying again through those community financial institutions. The SBA says a few days later, applications for all other small businesses looking for a second draw of the PPP will be accepted. Yes, you can get another PPP loan if you already received one in the past for your business. But this time around, there are some different rules. To qualify, you must have 300 employees or less. You must prove that you've had a 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters in 2019 and 2020. And just like before, if you follow the rules, these loans can be forgiven. This is all part of the stimulus package that was passed back in December, and it also includes a lot of tax deductions that will impact your business. All the rules and applications are available on SBA.gov, and the deadline to apply is March 31st.
Now, if you were to read those, let's go back and click on those, right? Let's see. So if you say had less than 300 employees, and if you can prove a deduction of income, which, you know, hopefully most people are able to do. If you could prove any of those, and it makes sense. It's a small business loan. But a lot of people are just claiming fraud.
17 members of the Broward Sheriff's Office, which include both BSO deputies and detention deputies, released from the federal courthouse in Fort Lauderdale after being indicted on charges that include wire fraud after federal investigators said they fraudulently applied for and received funds from the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP loans. Attorney Brian Silber represents the...
Now again, look at and listen to what he's saying. These are deputies, right? This is law enforcement charged with PPP loan fraud.
3 of the defendants, some of whom have either been suspended or placed on leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
I can't comment on the nature of the case.
Sheriff Gregory Toney said he first learned of the crimes in November of 2021, prompting him to investigate all 5,500 of his employees, including himself and other top brass. Of the 17 indicted, 7 BSO deputies and 1 sergeant in law enforcement, and 8 detention deputies and 1 sergeant in corrections. We learned the defendants involved received tens of thousands of dollars, and while the investigation has proved that some of whom were investigated did have legitimate businesses, at the very least, the 17 now facing federal charges allegedly did not.
So literally anybody could apply for these loans. We have police officers in this clip. Later in the video,
Yeah, so having like I think the biggest proof of any like I guess issue within a company is how many people within the company take advantage of the system, right? Insider threat, and in this case, you literally have your own law enforcement taking advantage of a system like this.
Fraud. In 2020, I actually signed up for over 15 bogus small business loans, and since I'm already going to jail, it's time to tell my side of the story. Now, this scam started out like any other good scam. An error from the government, an opportunity for me. There was a form that you could fill out online, and it would ask you 3 questions. It would ask you, do you own a small business? You would check yes. Then it would ask you if you want $10,000. You check yes. And then it would say, do you promise you own a small business? And you check yes again, and boom, $10,000 bucks. Now, this process was like taking candy from a baby. So once I got the $10,000, I did the right thing, and I told everyone I knew about. Now, at first, people were skeptical. They said, Drake, what do you mean you just answered 3 questions and then $10,000 appears in your account? But I assured them it was legit. So next thing you know, I was signing everybody up. I was taking their information, signing up for this loan, and then I was giving them $50 out of the $10,000. Until
See, this is it. He said I was giving them 50 out of the $10,000. I pray that it's 50%. Because could you imagine someone claims fraud using your name and only gives you $50, and they receive an overwhelming... He got 990. Oh my God, this dude got $9,900, and he gave you 50. Spit in the face.
Things went wrong, like really, really, really wrong. Everybody was happy. And to be honest, no problems really occurred until they realized that, hey, maybe this Drake guy isn't a trapdoor salesman. Now, in my defense and everyone else's defense who had taken this opportunity, what else were we supposed to do?
Bro, you stole $9,950 from these people. What do you mean? Hold on, what? They realized
that, hey, maybe this Drake guy isn't a trapdoor salesman.
Bro, you stole.
Now, in my defense and everyone else's defense who had taken this opportunity,
And I truly believe this entire situation, this is just lies.
what else were we supposed to do? Big Brother came down, locked us down, and told us we couldn't make any money. We were just doing what we had to do. I'm just glad I got to come on here and tell my side of the story. It's been real.
It's been real. I'm just glad I was able to tell you guys that I lied on these guys' behalf, and I gouged them.
And I will see you in 3 to 6 years.
So obviously this wasn't real, but a few months
Yeah,
ago,
exactly. It's not real. There's no way. I refuse.
Bank glitch, very similar stories. A person found one of the TikTok.
Bro, like, could you imagine just someone stealing from you and be like, all right, it is what it is.
So in 2020, everybody was doing the PPP. My cousin did it, my brother did it, then my best friend did it. I said, sign me up. Now, I wish I never did the shit. So for 4 years after the money already spent, I get a knock at the door the other day. Boom, 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 Dallas Police Department, open the door, we know you're inside. I open the door because I ain't do what the hell y'all banging at my door like that for? Put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest. I'm like, damn, what the hell I do? Can I put my dog up? They're not giving me no information, not letting me put my dog up. Get to the van, take me downtown. I'm in Bookhead asking, what am I being arrested for? They're not giving me no information. I find out when I get in front of the judge, I got 4 charges. Bank fraud, wire fraud, making false statements, and tax evasion. So the judge never mentioned PPP. So it's not registering to me what am I actually here for. So he set my bond at $20,000. I go back to my cell. I'm talking to my cellmate and I tell him about the charges. He's like, bro, that's for PPP.
So you can take this either way that you want, real or fake.
Yeah, again, it's all fake. I truly believe all of these stories are fake.
Get tens of thousands of dollars, most likely didn't even buy something that was worth it, just random crap. So we have another clip from the same person.
So everybody wants to know, what did I spend my PPP money on that's worth me going to jail for 20 years? None of it's worth me going to jail for 20 years. Let's just get that out of the way. But I did get this $10,000.
All right, it's clearly it's fake, right?
Edition Michelle watch that I really wanted. I got the $1,600 Gucci bracelet that I absolutely love. I also picked up these lovely Gucci shades, and I adore.
Okay, we can stop. Listen, I'm not stupid, but the whole concept of just making fun of it, I agree with. So I'll allow it.
Well, because again, so many thought that they got away with it because it was years ago. The government's not paying attention. They're dealing with stuff that's happening in 2025.
What is going on, everyone? Ex-federal underwriter here for the SBA. I worked on PPP and EIDL loans. And yes, there was so much fraud that it was unbelievable. And yes, there's a fraud prevention system in place. And yes, for those people that have lied on their application, at some point, because of the 10-year period that you're signed to, they will come after you.
So for anybody who hasn't gotten caught yet, even with so many stories coming out, they still have another 6 years worth of investigating that you're going to somehow have to try to dodge until you're actually home free. So that's several years worth of anxiety waiting for the police to knock on your door. Not something that I'd want to have to deal with at all, but we have another comment from one of you guys. The bad thing about the loan is how only rich people got to play that scam. They literally paid themselves and held lavish parties and didn't have to pay it back. A normie does the same thing and is facing decades in prison, and that's what we've seen since the start of this video. So we could go a little bit more in depth on that comment.
The government spent $14.5 billion to support the entertainment industry during COVID, but some of the biggest names in music sent that money mostly to their own pockets.
So Chris Brown, he got $10 million. That's the maximum allowable grant. Out of that $10 million, he paid himself $5.1 million. And then he spent another $80,000 on a 33rd birthday party for himself. All of it paid for by taxpayers.
Marshmello. Christopher Comstock is his legal name. Christopher Comstock paid himself $9.9 million.
Steve Aoki, who's a famous DJ, but fun fact.
And the crazy thing is that a lot of these businesses or the entertainers that they're talking about are able to receive that money because they do have the filings, they do have the documentation. And the aspect with this is that they're likely at the scale so large that they had financial accountants claim this just cause. So the actual entertainer isn't going to be the one that's going to be, blamed for any of this. It's actually going to be the accountant or the financial advisor or whatever firm that they went with.
His dad founded Benihana, took $1.9 million just for himself.
Members of Shinedown were taking home hundreds of thousands of dollars apiece.
A single member of the band Shinedown got more than all of their touring employees.
Alice in Chains got, I think, somewhere north of $6 million, and more than $3 million of that went into these band members' pockets. We found one guy who had worked with Alice in Chains for a long time. Scotty Doc is what people call him. During the pandemic, he was diagnosed with cancer, and AIC Entertainment's budget shows that it didn't spend a dime on health insurance.
It's not really clear how much help Alice in Chains gave to him. They're not listed as contributors to his GoFundMe, and somebody familiar with the situation told us that they referred him to a charity to help his medical bills. But 2 weeks after posting the GoFundMe, he had died.
So one of the loopholes with these types of loans, when you're talking about people who are genuinely super wealthy, all the rich celebrities making tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, still were able to apply for these loans and get a percentage back, which would still turn into ungodly amounts of money. And it all was technically legal, even though most of these people don't need another dime.
And that's the thing. It was so many of these people, while you're able to apply, you can't exclude the large companies because it'd be, again, you'd exclude a fair amount of people. You have to understand that the money wasn't meant for you, bro. Like Chris Brown, the money wasn't meant for you. Marshmello, the money wasn't meant for you.
For the rest of their lives. So stupid as it is for them, really need that COVID relief.
Jay-Z, Reese Witherspoon, and Khloe Kardashian took out PPP loans during the pandemic because they needed a little help from the government. Let's go over and see how much they took out. Kanye West's loan amount was $2 to $5 million. He wanted to help his 106 employees. His valuation on the business that took out the loan is $3 billion. I don't know, Kanye. I think the first day on interest for you, you could have paid your employees. Just a thought. Khloe Kardashian, like you don't have enough. That's okay. You can take more from us. We're okay.
Did you know Billy Joel got $1 million PPP loan? Yes. He did not just.
The whole aspect of someone who clearly can afford to continue their operations and likely wasn't hurt. I'm going to guess an entertainer wasn't as hurt as much as a restaurant. But again, that was one of the pre-approvals for the PPP loan, was to show that you depreciated over the past year, and somehow they were still able to get the money, which is wild to me.
Disappoint like the rest of them.
Right, I know she's being over the top, but it is on purpose, just showing how ridiculous. I mean, one of the Kardashians getting money, I think we all know how much they make as a family. Probably don't need any loans or relief from the government, but they were technically allowed to do it. So in the end, it does seem like some get to bend the rules, especially when they don't need the money in the first place, and normal people are dumb enough to try to commit fraud. They are clearly going to get caught, and a lot of people are still very happy about it.
Boy, it's a good day to be a law-abiding citizen, man. I tell you, bro. A lot of people that thought y'all got away with that PPP loan, it just took them 4 years. But they own y'all ass now. But they knocked on that girl door. She tried to call her mama. Her mama, I don't know nothing about that. Hey, you might as well go with them. I don't know nothing. Her mama said, just go with them, bro. They like, hey, are you this person? I don't know. Let me go in the back and make a call. Are you this person? But they got her for the PPP loan, bro. She thought she was slick. Y'all thought y'all slick. Listen, I ain't wishing jail on nobody. But us people, they know that didn't do the PPP loan, we just kept doing what we had to do. We struggled. You know what I'm saying? Because we knew y'all.
Hey, that struggle was real. I mean, let's applaud those who struggled. You know, let's just a round of applause. You did it. You struggled.
Y'all day was finally coming. And y'all day finally coming now. I said, I don't wish jail on nobody, but y'all thought y'all got away with it. Everybody bragging, oh, I did a PPP loan, they never went to jail. Now you're going to jail. And that's all about it. We can celebrate, like, hey, we didn't do it. But it's crazy. But like, they knock on her door, try to call her mama. It's too late to call your mama now. They sent you letters. They put you. It's too late. I'm sorry, bro. Get out of here.
So real quick, we can look at some of the comments. I wanted to do it for my business so bad. I had a bakery, but my mom said, don't invite the government into your business. And I didn't. That's honestly what I was thinking as well, even though she wouldn't have been committing fraud. She had a legitimate business, but still probably want the government out of my business as much as possible. From the example he was talking about in the clip, we could see that was unemployment fraud, not the PPP loans, but it still applies because it was another form of relief and fraud that people were doing during the
Yeah, it was all forms of relief in this case, right? It wasn't selectively PPP fraud. Like the aspect of PPP fraud is going to, let's just encompass it, all of government benefits during COVID. That's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna just do all COVID fraud.
the exact same time when COVID was just handing out money to virtually anybody, I guess. And we could actually see the example he was talking about.
I can't go to jail, Mom. I understand. So You have to know. I don't know what's going on, but they can't fight it.
On September 13th, 2024, a woman named Destiny Harris gets a knock on her door from police with a warrant for her arrest for unemployment fraud that she allegedly committed 4 years ago. But let's take it back to 2020. In the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak, numerous Americans lost their jobs, resulting in a significant rise in unemployment applications. This also led to some people attempting to exploit the system for benefits they were not eligible for. A financial investigator with the Department of Economic Opportunity informs a detective in the city of Delray Beach that 4 people had reported they received unemployment claims by employees who were still currently employed. An investigation was then initiated. 3 months later, after all the information was collected on the claimants, their phone providers were issued subpoenas. Detectives find one of the claimants was victim of identity theft, while the other 3
Listen, when you get into the aspect of identity theft, you are on another level of fraud. You're now hurting people, specifically those that you've stolen information from.
Guessing.
Y'all, the entrepreneur streets are talking. So in Chicago, in Will County, 22 people have been arrested for PPP fraud. So apparently, these 25 people were already incarcerated. Someone outside of the jail decided that they were going to help them get the PPP loan by creating fake business accounts, fake information, and giving them these accounts so that way when they get their PPP loan, they could literally post their own bond. So CPD decided they were going to have a private investigation look into this. So they ran everybody's name in Will County that got a PPP and also tried to see if they got a felony, because if you have a felony, you cannot classify or qualify for a PPP loan. So the news is getting out. So 14 people have already been arrested, and they're looking for 6 to 8 more that actually are on the run. So you scammers, please beware.
So we have people taking others' identity and social security number. We have people helping inmates trying to take their information to get the loans. I wouldn't doubt some of these scammers would take information of people who recently died and ran the exact same fraud. And I think this story is only going to get even worse. I think this will be interesting to look at in a couple months from now. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys.
All right, yeah, y'all see his details. Yeah, y'all see the title of his video. Y'all got him. But the whole aspect of this is wild to me, that people think they could simply get away with it. PPP fraud, it's government fraud. It's federal fraud. And if it's large enough and it's easy enough and the government sees it, they're going to go after you. But, you know, as you guys see on this channel, we're trying to live stream a little bit more. We're trying to make more content, which, you know, if any of this interests you, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I plan on doing way more live streams. Let me know what you guys are interested in down in the comments or even in the live stream. I'll check it out later. Peace.